And then I had a short relapse in December of 2012. Then I haven't played an electronic video computer game of any kind since then. Um, I got a sponsor pretty quick in the program, and then that didn't work out. I mean, I did a step or two, and then that didn't work out. And then I got another sponsor and started steps over and did a few steps, and that didn't work out. In the meantime, I did some steps online, the forums. I did first step work again, and finally I got a sponsor that I have today that I started going through again. Went back to step one and started going through the steps again with the sponsor. And as I started going through the steps, that was the first time I really started to get some insights and some peace about what was going on inside me from the turmoil that was going on. When I came to the fellowship, I was in very bad shape psychologically and emotionally. I was in a lot of pain, and I had a tremendous amount of resentment and anger that I was holding on to. I resented things that had happened to me in the past. I resented people who had done them. I resented myself. I resented life. I didn't want to be on this planet, and gaming was the best way I could find to not be here. That was my main goal every day, was to find a way to not be here. So I was in really bad shape. I was holding on to some really severe resentments. I knew they were bad. I knew that they were bad for me. I knew they were turning into a bitter old man, and that's what they would continue to do. I knew I needed to let them go. I just did not know how. I can remember before I came to the fellowship, some friend telling me, Jeff, you really need to find a way to let this stuff go. And what I wanted to say to them, I didn't say it this way, but what I wanted to say to them was, no shit, Sherlock. Like, yeah, I do need to let it go. And, what's the instruction book for that? Do I clench my right hand into a fist and then relax it suddenly and that's going to let him go? I mean, tell me what the procedure is, please, for letting something go. I had no tools for that. I had no way to do that. And when I came to the fellowship, I got a sponsor. That didn't mean I believed the 12 steps were going to work. I didn't think they'd work for me at all. I knew they'd work for other people. I had some friends who'd been in AA. I knew they worked for other people, but not for me. And I didn't think they would work. And I didn't even think I'd be able to do them. Um, and that turned out to almost have been true because I have a very difficult time with moving forward and making progress and taking action and not being stubborn and not trying to constantly do it my own way. That's hard for me. I'm stubborn. I like to do things my own way. Um, so, so it's been challenging for me to make progress in recovery because of that. Um, I'm sort of on the rowboat. I don't have a motor on my boat. I'm rowing it myself, and I don't row very well, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. I'm moving forward, and I keep trying to move forward. Um, so yeah, and it's really the fellowship has supported me and has helped me and has given me has the main thing the fellowship has done for me. Well, the fellowship's done a lot of things, but one of the big ones was to end my isolation. I have friends, I have people I know, I have people who support me, I have people I can help and who help me. I have connections, I have human connections because of this fellowship. Sure, I have connections with my family, and sure, I have connections with the people I work with, and sure, I have connections with some friends. But really, most of my deep and valued and helpful connections are right here. Um, and that has been huge in my recovery. That's been absolutely huge. The thing that has really given me a measure of inner peace has really helped me and calmed me down has been working the steps. And every time I make some progress, which, as I said, is slow, every time I make some progress, I get more peace. I get more calm. I get more clear and more able to focus and to work on things. The other thing that has helped me, the thing that has been huge for me in the program, has been the principle of acceptance. Spent a lot of time thinking about, meditating on, paying attention to, working on the principle of acceptance. What that has meant to me is looking at all the things in my life one by one and saying, I accept that. I accept that that's there. I accept that that happened. I accept that that person is the way they are, that that situation is the way they are, that I am the way I am. Just relaxing into the reality of the world that I find myself in. Not spending all my time with my teeth gritted wishing I were on a different planet. Instead, I've come to learn to accept this planet, this life, these people, these things, these circumstances as being here, as being what they are, and this is where I am. It took me a long time to do, and I shouldn't use the past tense because it's still a practice of acceptance. But to me, the practice of acceptance is very, very big. I've seen tremendous benefits from it. The other thing I think I want to say about how it is now that I've been in recovery for a while, is that recovery seems to be, in a lot of ways, about sort of negative progress. There's positive progress for sure, but that happens a little differently. Negative progress is where I'm trying to do something and I run up against a wall. I bang my head against the wall, and a bunch of monsters come out, and say, we're not going to let you through, and they're pushing me around and drooling on me and roaring and a bunch of crap like that. All those things are really progress in recovery. Every time I've hit a wall, every time I've come up against an obstacle, every time something hasn't worked or I haven't done something right, it's an opportunity for me to learn and for me to make more progress. It's an opportunity for me to understand something else about the world, something else about other people, or something else about myself. Usually it's something about myself. When I've run into problems in working steps, internal struggles, I found that it's stuff in me. It's dark, painful, old, deep stuff in me that is keeping me from making progress, that I'm hanging on to. False beliefs that I'm hanging on to, or pain that I'm hanging on to and just don't want to let go of, or don't know how to let go of. The steps have given me tools for letting go of the pain. I have a lot of tools I use. I like having tools. I have a big toolbox. I have polar disorder, which is one of the things that makes my progress slower than it might be for other people. I'm on medication for that. That's my tools. I've been in therapy since the week after my nervous breakdown, and my therapist is very good and very helpful, and that's a tool. My therapist actually is a person who knows the program, knows the steps, knows recovery, and can help me in that area as well. That's a tool. Every one of the steps, if I work a step, I realize that it's a tool, and it can help me. And so I've got those things in my toolbox as well, and all the spiritual principles of the program, acceptance and hope and trust and integrity and honesty and willingness. These things are all tools. I have a big toolbox. I have a lot of tools. And my challenge today is to use the tools that I have and the things that I know. When I came to the program, I didn't have as many tools, and I didn't know how to use them. But now when I run into obstacles, when the monsters come out from under the bed, when things get crazy, I have tools. Just 2 days ago, I had a really rough day, and I felt really terrible. I had some delayed emotional reactions to a very anxiety-producing situation. And I always have late emotional reactions when it's intense. I do fine while it's happening, and then afterwards I start shaking. So I was in my freak out after the fact mode. And one of the tools that I have is that I know a lot of people in the fellowship. And so I called people, and some people some people picked up and they listened to me and they hung out with me and they were there for me. And that made a huge difference for me. That made the difference between me freaking out and being miserable and find some way to escape and not being functional, and my being able to calm down. I'm still learning how to use the tools. I'm still picking up more tools. And I used to think that stop gaming, stuff would get better, everything would be okay. And I realize now that life isn't about everything being okay. Everything's going to be okay when I'm dead. That's when there's not going to be any problems. That's when there's not going to be any obstacles, challenges. That's when there aren't going to be any monsters coming out roaring at me. That's when there aren't going to be any unpleasant circumstances or unpleasant people or various other kinds of unpleasant things. Until then, there's going to be problems. Only used to have one main way of dealing with my problems, and that was to stick my head in the sand. The best sand I ever found to stick my head into was gaming. Now I can face things. It's still hard for me to open my mail. It's hard for me to open my mail. The thing I went through 2 days ago was a hearing on my bankruptcy. And opening the mail for about 5 years has meant opening something that is quite likely to be a letter from someone to whom I owe quite a bit of money, who is threatening to do something bad to me about it. But I do open my mail now. I'm better at dealing with stuff now. And I really think that that's what life's about. It's not about me being a better person. I've been a good person underneath all the addiction and underneath all the pain and underneath the bipolar disorder and all the horrible behavior that caused. I've been a good person and I'm still a good person. But I haven't been living like a good person because I haven't been able to. And that's the greatest gift I've gotten in recovery, is that now I'm starting to be able to live like the person that I know I am. And that is incredibly, incredibly wonderful. It's a great gift. And it's a gift from the fellowship and the program, the literature, higher power of various kinds, and all the people who've given me gifts, and all the wisdom of my ancestors, and everything in my life that has helped me. And I'm very grateful for those gifts. Thanks for listening.